Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Busters Taste Challenge. Well, 5:41 a.m. Central Standard Time, March 2021. All right, well, we got two bourbons. Kind of sleepy today because somebody called me and woke me up. People are amazing, you know. I'm like Tony Montana. You got to tell me one time. You know, you only have to tell me one time. And I got it. You know, you don't have to tell me twice. But I tell people thousands of times, and it's just, I was like, I tell them, don't call me after dark because I'm going to sleep early. Then they'll call me after dark. Hey, guess what? And I'm like, what? Oh, you're sleeping? Yeah, remember I told you like 50 other times now? But it's just impossible. You can't, you just, you can't do anything about it. I can't make people be cognizant of simple things. You know, they have to be that way. You say, well, you could cut off your phone. I could do that, but then if there was a fire and I got burnt, but if I get burned alive in a fire, I want them to put on my tombstone, you caused this. You know. Anyway, that's just my curse, I guess, knowing things and realizing other people can't grasp simple concepts. But be that as it may, this will help me feel better, I think. Some straight bourbon whiskey and some blend of bourbon whiskey. Medicinal. I'm using it. I'm doing a medicinal taste challenge, so to speak. We have ancient age 10 year. Oh, 10 star. Not aged 10 years. It's 10 stars, which is a meaningless thing, but it's aged 3 years. It's sour mash Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The ancient age line. Now, see, I don't know about each specific product. I doubt they all came out the same year, but ancient age came out in 1936. You say, well, I'll look on Buffalo Trace website. It says 1946. I know they're wrong. Now, you say, that's a pretty bold statement to say the company's wrong about their own product. You're right. And I would normally not make a bold statement like that, except that I proved them wrong. And I even emailed them and told them. And they were saying, well, how do you know? How can you? So I sent them the documents to prove that it was 1936. And they said, we'll look into it. But they never, they never responded. Here's Virginia Black. Looks like a cologne bottle, huh? A cologne bottle that you bought at JCPenney's in 1986. Virginia Black, which has no relation whatsoever to Virginia, interestingly. It's made in Indiana, totally produced in Indiana, distilled, blended, aged, and bottled in Indiana, obviously by Midwest Grain Products, who just bought Luxco this year. But that's another story. And it's produced for Virginia Black LLC of Los Angeles, California, for the pop star named Drake. And I don't know anything about Drake, except people say he's from Canada. All right. I don't see this really selling too well. Mathern's has it $38 a bottle. This is a half-size bottle. But they got the full-size bottles for $38. And I notice other stores have it for that same price range. That's a mirror on the front. I'm done with mirrors. They mostly have it $35 to $38. Well, I never see people buying it, you know. It's in a nice box. It's a beautiful box. And it's a nice looking, I guess it's a nice looking bottle. Like if you would want bourbon whiskey that looks like a 1986 cologne bottle. I mean, I'm not opposed to cologne bottles, actually. It's got a mirror on the front. I mean, how many bottles of whiskey have a mirror on the front? I don't think too many. Like Blue Oyster Cult said, mirrors are a negative space with a frame. Now, age 2 years. Lawrenceburg, Indiana. We know who that is. And you know this, man. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I know you didn't pay no $38 for that. You thought correctly. I bought 2 half-size bottles, and 2 halves make a whole, as we've learned. And they were $5 a bottle at Savannah Discount on Louisiana Highway 45 northbound in Marrero, Louisiana, heading down toward the Gulf. You can keep on going south on 45. Go south, south, south. Eventually it ends. It just ends because it's at, what is it, Barataria Bay? In other words, the next stop is, I guess, Cuba, you know, or Grand Isle, Louisiana, the island, then Cuba or Mexico, because you're really getting down there when you, Savannah Discount is getting kind of toward the swamp. And then if you keep going on that highway, you can take that, go on Jean Lafitte National Historical Park, which is, it's fun to go in there and you can walk on the trails, but you got to watch because they got water moccasins everywhere. Okay, so I told them 1936 they didn't seem to have any interest. Didn't matter to me. But this came out in 2016 for Drake, and like I say, I don't think it's too popular. And I paid $5 a bottle. We were at Savannah Discount, and I said, "Whoa, what is this? I never heard of Virginia Black." This is like in 2018. I said, "Well, for $5, if it's terrible, it's no loss." You know, I just saw it, so it was all right. Not great or anything, but it was all right. It tastes like they add flavor into it. And I think they're adding caramel color to it. It's aged 2 years. Now, that does not mean every bourbon in here is 2 years old. They probably got some 5 year, 6 year, whatever. Because I think it's oh, I know what it is. I remember. It's on their website. It's a blend of 2, 4, 3, and 4 year bourbons. It says right here. A personally selected collection of 2, 3, and 4 year old bourbons finished with a decadent profile, which I think I interpret as finished with flavoring. That's why the bottle doesn't say bourbon. You see, if you read the Bible, I do read the Bible. I was reading Book of Numbers today. Remember when God told Moses, tell them to go into Canaan and scout the land out. Go spy it out. Go spy. And he sent one man from each tribe, so 12 people. And Caleb was one. I can't remember what tribe. Joshua. His name was Hosea, but they call him Joshua. Jesus is the English, but Joshua. So they went in there and they were saying, oh, look, they got pomegranates, grapes. So they cut some grapes and brought it back. Now, but then they were saying, oh, we don't want to go there because the people are real strong and dangerous. They're like giants. That's what they're saying. They're like giants, sons of Enoch. Giants and all of this. And Caleb said, they're not that strong. He said, they're not that powerful. They're just scary. These people are scary. You know, we can go in there and take them all out. You take the place over. Look at these grapes. But the other ones were saying, no, the land is eating up the people. It's hard work in there and we should go back to Egypt. And they were complaining in a previous chapter because they wanted cucumbers from Egypt. True story. Read the Bible. So they were very hard-headed people. But now Joshua also said, let's go in there. We can take them out. But they wouldn't listen. So they got punished. They said, none of y'all. So God said, none of y'all are going. Anybody from 20 years age, 20 years old or up is not making it to the Holy Land. And only one of them got to make it, right? That was Joshua. I think Caleb had died. So Joshua made it. And he was the first judge, right? First judge. They had judges, what was it, 10 judges or 12, 10? Like dictators, like, dictators, and then they would, or leaders, and then they would get replaced by the next. Kind of like Cincinnatus in the Roman Empire. Even a woman dictator, Deborah, right? Okay, Dr. Frosty Brew says, cheers, Ron. Cheers to you. So anyway, but instead of saying read the Bible, read the label. American whiskey. See, so it says American whiskey, not bourbon. And that is because I'm pretty sure they're adding flavoring. You can add flavor into whiskey, no problem. You can add caramel color to whiskey to make it darker, no problem. But you can't call it bourbon, even though it is bourbon. I told you the website says a blend of 2-year, 3-year, and 4-year bourbons. But they call it whiskey. You say, well, bourbon is a type of whiskey. Yeah, I know that. I've actually always known that. For some reason, I just always knew that. But for legal purposes, you cannot call it bourbon unless it's blended bourbon. So there are exceptions to every rule. In the bourbon world, there are many exceptions. If it's blended bourbon, like Kentucky Gentleman, so on the Buffalo Trace website, well, you can add flavor and coloring and still call it bourbon, blended bourbon. Then they sell 10 High at Walmart, right there at Walmart. 10 High, it says bourbon with natural flavors. Now, so you explain that. You say that's sophistry. That's sophistry. That's what that is. I know it is. This 6-year-old, no, but now it's 3 years. It says they need to update their website. They never will, though. This 6-year-old has flavor to be savored by all bourbon enthusiasts. Marked by its sweetness and heavy rye flavor. It's an easy bourbon to sip. I agree with that. Aromas of oak wood. Oak wood. They got that from the Office of Redundancy Office. Because, you know, oak, you thought it was plastic, but it's wood. Oak wood, clover, and honey round out the nose. Strong and warm flavors of corn. Oh, yes. Vanilla. Yeah. Spice. Yes, I'll go along with that. Finishes with a takeaway of caramel and toffee. Now, well, let me get off of the Virginia Black website, because all Virginia Black does, it just to me, it's decadent. It's sort of like a meaningless term. What does that mean? Well, it means different things to different people. It's like non-specific. It just sounds like, you know, rap star, you know, type. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just glamorous, you know, that kind of thing. It's, I got my chains and my gold teethus, and I got this whiskey yard. But whatever. I don't even care about all that. I'm not opposed to it, or I'm not for it or against it. If the product tastes good, then I'm gonna say, okay, it tastes good, you know. Or if it's bad or in between. Most stuff you try is at least good. Do they have some average stuff out there that's not even good? Yeah, they do. I'm talking about beer, wine, and liquor. Do they have some bad stuff out there that just tastes bad? It's like a D. They have them, but they're not too many. What about F? Undrinkable. That's a rarity, but they exist. Usually because it's spoiled, it's so out of date. But I mean, they have some products that are actually on their own merits, fresh. Brewery fresh that are an F. For example, Camo Silver Ice. I would call it an F. I couldn't drink it. I did make that mistake one time with Earthquake High Gravity 12%. Drank that whole 24-ounce can. Kept it down for 3 hours. But it came back. My body was like, I ain't digesting this. Are you crazy? Thank you, body. Horrible. I was able to digest 4-0 Street Legal malt liquor that I bought in Trevose, Pennsylvania. Oh, man, my bones hurt for 2 days. And I'm not exaggerating. Literally, my body hurt for 2 days. Like my bones, like I had some kind of bone disease. I said, oh, why did I drink a 40-ounce of this stuff? And I didn't drink it fast. I drank it over a long period of time. I don't know who made 4-0 Street Legal. They might have made it on the street. It was so bad. Look, I threw away the can and the bottle because I had bought a can and a bottle at two. Because every time I looked at them on the shelf, it made me think about that. You say you had flashbacks, man. I know. I threw them out. I threw away that Axe Head can, the can of Axe Head. That's another one I drank the whole can. Oh, ouch. Every time I saw that can, that 24-ounce can of Axe Head, it made me grit my teeth. I was like, so I can't look at this. You say, you're probably saying, oh, you're neurotic. You're neurotic. You had to throw away a can. I mean, this day and age, I wouldn't have done it. You know, I'm more mentally tough. 10 years ago, I was more neurotic. Oh, adventures in tasting beer, wine, and liquor. This one smells musty, funky, like, oh, look at daylight coming in sooner than later now. I like to see that daylight coming in. Dawn, during dawn, but they'll ruin it. They're going to ruin it in 2 weeks when they bring in daylight savings time. Then it'll be pitch black at 6:30 a.m. So, all right. Okay, that's Virginia Black. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you this is Virginia Black. How do I know so quickly? Well, first thing is I remember from yesterday evening, the Ancient Age having that funky, musty sort of, I don't know, I said it was like an old attic, you know, with dust in it. But this smells like some kind of, I would say like a brown sugar candy or a brown dark molasses, sweet dark molasses candy. It's, I know, I think that's what they're adding to it. What do I know for additives? But I think with Virginia Black, they're adding some sort of like creme brulee type thing. You know what I mean? My friend David has trouble saying it. He always says creme brulee. I say, it's not creme brulee. It's creme brulee. Now he'll laugh and say, how do you say it? I say creme brulee. So it's almost like, yeah, it's like, you know, if you have a fire and you're roasting marshmallows and one gets a little too dark and it's like quasi burnt. Yeah, it's sort of like that. And that goes along with what I'm saying. The whole concept of the sugar, the dark molasses, caramel, creme brulee thing. Yes. So I'm going to say before I even taste it, that's the Virginia Black. And I don't know why I had labels because one is so obviously darker. It is the Virginia Black. How you feel, play? All right. So anyway, now which one tastes better? So this is a challenge in name only. Okay. It's not a real challenge because a challenge would imply that you had trouble telling one apart from the other. But Virginia Black is so different from everything else, you'd never confuse it. I mean, I don't see how you could confuse it. Now, the question is it any good? My feeling is that it is good, especially for the $10 I paid. You go to the store, you're going to have to pay 38 bucks. I paid 10. Huge discount. I already polished off the first bottle, and now I'm dealing with the second bottle, and I'm not going to repurchase it. But it's fine. It's fine. If you see it, you know, you want to check it out. It's different. It's not going to remind you of something else because it is unique. It is unlike anything else from my experience. Now, Ancient Age, last night was sort of a controversy, or if you live in England, a controversy, like they like to say over there. That's what they say. She's a bully. Talking about. I was saying that the ancient age 10-star was better than, not better, but a better value than the Blanton's. Now that set off a bit of a controversy because people say, oh, no, you're clearly wrong. Blanton's is a single barrel, A. It's hand bottled, B. It's $60 a bottle, C. It's very difficult to find, D. And there's also no age statement. I'll add that, E. An ancient age is a bottom shelf, 3-year aged, 90 proof, cheap sour mash bourbon whiskey. Yes, all of that is true. I bought it off the bottom or near bottom shelf at Bonita Plaza Liquors in Meridian, Mississippi, on Mississippi Highway 19 southbound, right south of Interstate 59 north, and they're co-signed right there. Co-signed Interstate 20 east, also U.S. Highway 90 east. Might add. All those highways come together on one road, and then they split off. You know, they're only together for like about 2 miles. Then they split off to their various destinations. Like Missing Person said, destination unknown. But even though we bring all these facts up, I didn't think the Blantons was that much better, and that probably would make you a lot of enemies in the drinking world. But hey, I'm gonna buy 4 bottles of Ancient Age before I buy 1 bottle of Blantons. Could I tell them apart? Yeah. Oh yeah. Was it easy to do? Not really. Right there answers the question. You pay $60 a bottle and you pay $15 a bottle, and you have a hard time telling one from the other. Well, okay, why are you paying $60 a bottle? Because it's got a horsey on it, on the cap. Jeep and Foodie says checking in for the chat, Ron. Oh, hey, Jeep and Foodie, Caleb. Now, I've been so pleased by this ancient age. I just can't get over it. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but it's really dynamite. The magic of Buffalo Trace. But in a way, they kind of undermine themselves because, but it's not hurting them because there's not too many people like me out there that's just like what you call slumming it, so to speak. But what I mean is that, okay, so Buffalo Trace puts out these extremely expensive bourbons like Old Charter Mongolian Oak, Pappy Van Winkle 23-year age, Eagle Rare, double, well, that's not that expensive, but Double Eagle, Blanton's Green Label, which you call Travel Exclusive, Taylor, stuff you got a special order and wait in line for. All right, so they put all that stuff out, but then they put out these cheap bourbons too, like Virginia, Kentucky Tavern, this stuff here that I'm dealing with, and it's really good. See, so the problem with them is that if the secret gets out, how they gonna? But you can't convince people. You can't. I know these bourbon people, and they wouldn't even do a blind taste test. It's like, well, why don't you do a blind taste test between Eagle Rare and Ancient Age? Oh no, I don't have time to lower myself for that. No, you don't have to lower yourself, because you might not be able to tell them apart, and then how you gonna feel? So I like it. It's 90 proof. It's smooth. It's easy going. They do have toffee. They do have caramel, actually. They do have a lot of vanilla. They have the oak wood that they call it, oak wood. In other words, just oak. We know it's wood. I'll say another thing about this ancient age. It's not so corn heavy. Some of these, man, it tastes like you're drinking a bowl of grits. This one isn't so bad with that. So this is one of the best bourbons I've tried so far. Probably. I want to hedge my bets, you know what I mean? It's really nice. Now let's deal with this Virginia Black. Yes, certainly a much more suspect product. Let's say a questionable product. Because, yeah, it's colored. You say, oh, don't say colored. Okay, it's a bourbon of color. It's got color added. I don't know how you're supposed to speak today. It obviously has flavoring added. Still in all, the flavoring is not bad. Like I said, that creme brulee flavor. I don't have a problem with it. It's only 80 proof. I'd rather go with 80 proof, tell you the truth. 90 proof, you start getting kind of wishy-washy in your mind, you know? Drink too much of that, you start getting wishy-washy. You know what I mean? Slur and have trouble saying the S words like Dragon Slayer. You'll be saying Dragon, you know, you just have trouble saying it. So, or thallid. I was eating some thallid. So I think from my own personal preference, the 80 proof is much nicer. And anyway, why would I buy Ancient Age 10 star for $15 when I could buy the Kentucky Tavern liter? This is a true story. I know it sounds like I'm lying. A liter of Kentucky Tavern straight bourbon whiskey, and I think it's sour mash whiskey also. It's 3-year age. Oh well, big deal. Still a year longer than it's required to. It's only required to be aged 2 years. For $8.99. I promise you that's the price. $8.99 at Dorignacs. Now, let's play a little game called I want you to find a liter of straight Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey for $8.99 a liter. That's the game. Let's play that game. I'm not saying it's better than the Ancient Age. It is not. It's probably not as good. But I'm saying for my preferences, it's better because I prefer 80 proof over 90. You understand what I'm saying? Hedging your bets makes me think of the whole GameStop stock situation. I know I was thinking of that too. What do I know for hedge funds? But anyway, getting back to this. Even if I did, it wouldn't even matter because of the other thing. I think the Ancient Age 10 star is really nice. I mean, it's great. This is like a hidden jewel. I think if you see it, and I don't know how probable that is because it seems to be a rarity. I was stunned when I ran across it. I was just looking around in that liquor store. I was like tired from driving all those hours, and I was staying at the hotel. They don't call them motels anymore, even though it is basically a motel. I like the whole concept of motels, honestly. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I said, well, let me look around, and I was like, I just remember seeing it on the shelf, like. I saw that gold label. I was like, oh, it was them. But I had bought a bunch of other stuff and I didn't buy it. I remember now I did not buy it. There was some reason. But I said, the next time I go back, I'm buying it. Watch them not have it. And I went back the next year and they had it. I said, you know, way I'm passing it up this time. So, of course, I bought it. Dark Loose, has been a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. Oh, yes, very nice. The Virginia Black. Nice little charred oak in the back. Okay, it's fine because I only paid $10. You got what I'm saying? You catch what I'm saying? I paid $10 for a full-size bottle. It's $5 for a 375, and I bought 2 of them, so it's $10. A great value because, like I said, everybody's selling it for $38. Decadent American whiskey. Yeah. $38. There is no way it's worth $38. I don't care what kind of cologne bottle looking thing it's in. I wouldn't pay $38 for it. I mean, I wouldn't have bought it regardless because I didn't know what it was. I'm not going to pay $32 for something I don't even know what it is. But when I stumbled across it for $10, I bought it. And it's a great value for that. Except you're not going to find it for that. That's the only little problem. Let's see, 10 divided by 38. 74% discount. Well, I can't explain that. And I know that's lower than cost. And supposedly in Louisiana, it's illegal to sell beer, wine, or liquor lower than cost. Well, it might be illegal, but I can assure you that law is not being enforced. I mean, how could it be enforced? What, you're going to have revenue agents roaming around looking at closeout prices? Yeah, right. Sure, that's going to happen. I mean, like buying Canadian Leaf. I'm sorry, Canadian. It's Northern Lights. Yeah, the Northern Lights, because it's the Aurora Borealis on the label. Northern Lights Canadian whiskey for $4.75. I mean, I can assure you they did not pay $4.75 for that bottle. That was not their cost. They sold it for less than cost because they were trying to get rid of it. But who's going to go check it, you know? I bought a bottle of Appleton Estate Signature Blend. That's usually $18 to $20 a bottle. I bought it. I'm not going to name the store because I don't want to get them in trouble. I bought it for $9.99. $9.99. So in the worst, in my case, the best case scenario, I bought a huge handle bottle of Caliber Canadian whiskey. It's actually pretty good whiskey. It's just in a drab, shabby little plastic bottle. You know, it doesn't look nice, really, but they're not going to sell it in glass. But bought it at Rouse's, handle bottle, $5. $5 for a handle of Canadian blended whiskey. I mean, come on. There ain't no whiskey in the world marked up that well. I guess some stores mark stuff up to an extraordinary amount. But you know what I'm saying? They didn't pay $5 for it. They were selling it at a closeout. I mean, they might have paid $5 on the secondary market. I'm starting to think there's like some underground secondary liquor market. Because I go to certain stores, and we know what those which stores those are, and I find prices that they don't make sense. Like nobody sells Chivas Mitsunara Scotch for $17.99, maybe $47.99, maybe $37.99 on a deep discount. $37.99. I bet you won't find it that cheap though. But I went into a store and found it for $17.99. Come on, man. A guy from Kansas, the Whiskey Scout, said, I want it. I want it. He sent me the money. He said, buy it. Come on, man. I bought it and I gave it to him when I saw him. So something funny's going on around here. You know, like I think there's literally like a secondary market that may or may not be authorized. And I don't care because I believe in free enterprise and the hidden hand always wins anyway. And anyway, in Louisiana, the enforcement officials tend to be, well, enough said. I'm not going to say anything else. But anyway, just don't say too much. Take advantage of the situation as it stands and just cool it. Final assessment, they're both very nice, but I think price has to be considered unless you're just a billionaire and you don't care. But most people aren't. Which one would I buy? Well, I'd buy both. But I wouldn't pay the regular price for Virginia Black. For the extremely low price I paid, $10 a bottle, yeah, I'd buy it. And this is the regular price because I bought it at Bonita Plaza Liquors in Meridian, Mississippi, and it was $15. And that's the normal price. And yeah, it's worth it. And I can buy Ancient Age at Walmart right here, right there for $9.49 a bottle. And that is a true story. And it's a pretty dang good bourbon. It's not exceptional like this gold label, but it is nice. All right, end of story. Liquor black market in Louisiana, huh? Well, of course, that's more theory than fact. I can't prove that, but I certainly think that something's going on. Because it's too many, there's too many times when I run across prices that are astronomically too low. And I'm not complaining. And I'm not even saying it's an illicit market. I say black market, you know. But you might say, well, how do you know there's not a legal apparatus set up that is under the supervision of the Louisiana Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and that there is an exception to the law that they can sell at less than cost if certain stipulations are met, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that could be true because Louisiana law usually has all kind of exceptions that kind of like undermine the law. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll have a law, but then it's undermined by all the exceptions. For example, the drinking age. You can't buy liquor until you're 21 in Louisiana. It's been on the books since 1988. 1987. But you see, there were too many exceptions. They had to update the law. You couldn't buy alcohol at 18 or 19 or 20. But it wasn't illegal to drink. And it actually wasn't even illegal to, well, the law didn't mean anything. So all the nightclubs and everything was full of 18-year-olds drinking. They were not breaking the law. They just couldn't buy it. There was nothing in that somebody couldn't hand one to you or buy, even use a straw man, buy it for you. It wasn't any law against that if you were 18. Well, Louisiana passed that to get around the federal stipulations. So about 12 years ago, they updated the law. So now if you're not 21, it's illegal to either buy it or drink alcohol, except for these following exceptions. It is legal in Louisiana to drink alcohol at 18 if you're at home with your parents. True story, look up the law. No, I mean, I'm serious. And in fact, it is legal in Louisiana to drink alcohol at a restaurant if you're with your parents from age 12 years old and up. I'm not going to name the people, but I know somebody, I know them very well. They used to go to Christmas dinners and Easter dinners at hotels in New Orleans back in the 90s and 2000s, starting in 1994. This person brought his 12-year-old child with him, with the family. 12 years old, 13 years old, 14, etc. And that child was drinking mimosas without any interference from the restaurant staff whatsoever. And that's a fact. And they didn't care. And they don't care now. You might live in a strict state. Louisiana is not one of those strict states. Okay, last comments, then we out of here. What state has the cheapest alcohol prices in your experience? Well, as far as beer is concerned, I would say that the Chicago area is very cheap for beer. I've seen 30 packs of beer for $10.99. Interesting. Maybe Louisiana's more like Europe. Louisiana is more like Europe because Louisiana has a different state heritage. 49 states operate under common law. The common law concept. But Louisiana operates under Napoleonic code, the Code Napoleon. In other words, the Justinian Code, which was established and developed by the Emperor Justinian, the Roman Emperor Justinian, in the 500s. So, yes. In Europe, it's 18. In Canada, it's 18. In Mexico, it's 18. Some Canadian provinces, it's 19. Yeah, 12 might be pushing it. Well, that's the law. When I was a teenager, it was weird. You couldn't buy cigarettes until you were 18. You could smoke. Now, Louisiana did pass a law a few years ago that you had to be 18 to buy cigarettes. But they used to not have that law. 12, 13-year-olds could buy cigarettes. Easy as anything. But now, you know, they're a little stricter because the U.S. government was putting pressure on Louisiana. So they're like, all right. So I remember a sign at a hangout with a sign saying you have to be 16 to smoke there. Yeah, I remember about 5 years ago, they put these signs up in all the cigarette outlets saying starting January, whatever, or it was July. All the Louisiana laws go into effect in July, the fiscal year. Starting July 1st, you must be at least, first it was 18 to buy cigarettes. But didn't they up it to 21? Now you got to be 21. You can fight in a war when you're 17 and shoot a machine gun off a not a battleship, a cruiser. They don't make battleships anymore. But so imagine that you can fire a machine gun off a cruiser at 17, because you can join the military at 17 if you have your parents' permission. Many people do. But you can't smoke cigarettes because you're not old enough. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this video production. And next Tuesday, I plan to come back on this with Ancient Age versus, I think it's going to be Woodford Reserve. Oh, no, Jack Daniel's Green Label. Jack Daniel's number 8. Jack Daniel's number 7. Not old number 7. Number 7, Green Label. Purchased for me in Beaumont, Texas.